if you have foot, knee, hip, or back pain, it can be a huge challenge. The Good Feet store is designed to personally fit you with arch supports that alleviate and even eliminate your pain altogether. Try them before you buy them. They're in your free, no obligation, personalized fitting, and you can wear them home the same day. So if you're looking to improve your game, the Good Feet store has you covered. Stop in for a free, personalized fitting today. Roll to victory at goodfeet.com. That's goodfeet.com. Roll Tide.
Join us today for Crimson Drive, driven by NASCAR, streaming live at 2 p.m. Central on all CTSN social media platforms. Crimson Tide Today is brought to you by the Good Feet Store. Crimson Tide Today is a production of the Crimson Tide Sports Network from Learfield.
Can you get me a little typeset?
I'm funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you?
You're tired.
Well, the lunchtime whistle and the morning's finally done. I'm jumping in my car, I'm gonna have a little fun. The Doghouse Network's on my radio dial. Big Dog's taking care of business for a while. If you're listening to another station I don't understand, 'cause nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
Give us a call, Steve.
He's a northern-bred, southern-fed, slick-talking guy. Listeners in his posse are the junkyard dogs. The SEC from Tennessee to calling them hogs. From Gainesville up to Lexington to the Titan Tiger Land, nobody does it like Thom Abraham.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond?
And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a Beat the Big Dog Thursday in the Doghouse. I am Thom Abraham, and we are doing it today from my favorite Mexican restaurant on the planet, Corralejo's Mexican restaurant. Now, look, I haven't been to every single Mexican restaurant on the entire planet, but I have been to most of them throughout the Tennessee Valley, and I'm going to say that this is the best one in the Tennessee Valley, and probably, based on that, the best one on the entire planet. That's what I'm going to say right now. Corralejo's is on Old Monrovia Drive in the Publix Plaza out by Westminster Christian Academy. I just knocked down a cheese quesadilla from them. I mean, it is just the shredded cheese, the shredded chicken is unbelievable on this quesadilla. The cheese, the shell is incredible. My mouth is watering just now thinking about it. And there's so much chicken in the quesadilla that a little bit of the chicken falls out on the side, on the plate when you eat it. And it doesn't even bother me because there's so much chicken, it doesn't even bother me that I missed a couple of pieces of the shredded chicken. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. My wife loves the shrimp quesadilla here as well. I think that Steve Moulton is a shrimp quesadilla guy as well. But I'll tell you what, man, everything that you want is right here at Corralejo's. And right now you can get $50 worth of Corralejo's for just $25 at Big Zone Deals. But you might want to jump on this because they always sell out quickly. About half of them are gone already, and they went up this morning. And you might want to jump on these things and because they will sell out. All you got to do is go to all the social media sites for WZZN. That would be, the Twitter page at 97.7, ESPN on the Facebook page and so on, and you'll see the link there. And it'll take you right to the Big Zone Deals site, and you could snag those things. We do welcome those of you watching on WZZN TV, our YouTube channel, and on X as well. You can check that out if you haven't yet. As well as our listeners on 97.7 ESPN, the app. And those of you listening over the air in Winchester, Tennessee, on ESPN Winchester. Lines are open for everybody at 256-576-4977. That'll get you into the show. You can also text the show, 7329-TA-SHOW, 732-982-7469. That is a great way to communicate with us. My X feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The Zone is on X at 97.7 ESPN. And you can follow at ESPN Winchester as well at their feed. And speaking of apps, go ahead and snag all of the apps for all of these stations as well to get all of the great programming. And you need to keep an eye on the socials and on the calendar at 977ESPN.com because there's so much going on. There's so many games that we have on various channels and feeds and so on. The Zone has all your college football playoff action, plus the NFL playoffs right through the Super Bowl. But we also have Havoc hockey and UAH basketball. Games are being moved. Havoc and UAH have each moved action from Friday to Sunday due to the impending snowmageddon. Right now, the problem that we're having is excessive sunshine. There is not a cloud anywhere in the sky on the horizon, anywhere from Nashville to Birmingham. All right, I don't know. I don't see a cloud anywhere there. Maybe this is the calm before the storm. It's very, very pretty out there right now. We'll see whenever this snow event is supposed to start happening. Whenever it's going to happen, it could be. Who knows? It could be ankle deep. The snow by the time it's all said and done. It may even go a little bit higher than your ankles. It'll shut down schools for a week. It'll be, let me tell you what's a lot worse than snow. Ice. If these roads ice over and everything else, that does get a little icy. And you got to be, I joke, being a former Northerner. Now it's been for me, look, I left the North 45 years ago now. All right. It's been that long for me. I went back for a little while, but I've been down in the South permanently since 2001. Okay, left the first time in 1980, went back for a while, came back in 2001, and I've been in either Florida, Alabama, or Tennessee ever since then. Having said that, I mean, we used to have to shovel our way through the snowplow would go by and fill the end of the driveway with a snowbank that would be sometimes 4 and 5 feet high. And we would have to climb over that to get to the bus to go to school. I mean, it was, I'm just saying. But ice is bad. Ice is a bad thing. And a lot of folks down here, in all fairness, that have not driven in snow and ice and so on in the past, I mean, it'll freak you out if you don't know what you're doing. So be careful out there. I don't want to minimize it. But right now, your biggest problem is sun glare because it is incredible out there right now. But, it's supposed to get sideways at some particular point in time. On the show today, Justin Ferguson of the Auburn Insider will join us. That's coming up at the bottom of this hour. Plus, we got plenty to catch up with on there, both from a football front and with the basketball team. Did you see one of the listings, the way too early polls for next year has Auburn in the top 10? This is it, man. This is it. I had a guy that I have great respect for. I'm not want to name him because I don't want to out him. But he made a comment to me about Auburn fan that I thought was spot on and kind of hilarious. He said, they remind me of the team of State in those Dr. Pepper commercials. You know how the Dr. Pepper commercial he's talking about next year. And this is the year, man. This is going to happen. It's going to happen, man. State's going to the playoffs. We'll see. There's a lot of hype already for what next season might look like. And then, of course, there's the basketball team, which is very good and could be number one in the nation by next week. Take care of business in South Carolina on Saturday. They'll be number one next week. And then at the top of the one, Thom Luginbill of ESPN will join us with his thoughts on tonight's Orange Bowl and tomorrow's Cotton Bowl. And we'll also get Tom's take on Shedeur versus Cam Ward versus Travis Hunter versus Will Campbell or any of the other guys that are going to be in that draft, because the Titans with the 1, the Browns with the 2, the Giants with the 3, they all need quarterbacks. Or either one of these quarterbacks worth taking a shot on. We'll get into that as well. Now, after Tom, we're going to get this week's episode of Beat the Big Dog in. And if you can beat me, I'm going to hook you up with $50 worth of Corralejos plus 4 highly sought-after tickets to an upcoming Havoc game. Now, last week I went 3-3, which was good enough to pick up 2 games on you guys after Jay in Athens stumbled his way to a 1-5 result. So for the season, I'm now 47-49. I'm 4 games back of you guys who are 51-45. Remember, this goes through the Super Bowl. I am coming on like a train, though. I'm taking you down. You're not going to you got me last year. You're not going to get me again this year. And so I'm coming on. Maybe I should get my son Joe, all right, the Knuckle Dog. Maybe I should get him from the morning show on WCDT. Maybe I should get him in here to pick the games for me, since he's been running at about 60% against the spread this season. I get that guy. But as soon as I get that guy to pick games for me, he'll drop a 2-4 or a 1-5 on there. It's a big one today. This is a good Beat the Big Dog today. We have got the 2 college football playoff games and 4 of the NFL playoff games. So that's good. So there's a ton of talk already on what the Titans or the Browns or the Giants are going to do in those top 3 spots in the draft. Those 2 big quarterback names both have significant question marks. But all three teams need a game-changing quarterback. You know, does Cam Ward bailing on the second half of the Pop-Tarts Bowl give pause to anyone? You know, in the immediate aftermath of that, it was treated as if he just bailed at halftime without any notice to anyone. And then people started saying, well, it was planned that way. All along, it was planned that way. Well, why doesn't Mario Cristobal just come out and tell us that then? He won't say that. He says, oh, those conversations between player and coach are private. If Mario Cristobal wants to do that kid a solid, he would say Cam Ward didn't have a choice. This is not on Cam Ward. We told Cam that he could play. Cam wanted to play the whole game, and we thought he should opt out. But what we did was we said, look, you can play the first half, and then after that, we're pulling you. You know, that's how you would back up the kid and protect him in the draft. But they're not saying any of that. And they're leaving this out there that it's literally possible that Cam Ward literally opted out in the middle of a game his team was winning. If that's the case, that's problematic. For me, that's a major red flag. That's problematic if that kid just bailed. And I don't understand why Mario Cristobal isn't being more forthcoming on that. I mean, typically college coaches, they want to do a solid by their players. He would love to see Cam be the number one pick overall. So make it sound like you took his helmet away from him. Make it sound like he was kicking and screaming and wanted to play, and you wouldn't let him play the second half of that game. That's not what we're hearing. And then there's Shedeur Sanders. I mean, do you want to bring that circus to town with that guy? Is he that good that bringing in Shedeur Sanders is going to be a game changer, or is it a bit of a risk? And look, Shedeur Sanders is more of a pocket passer type. Understand that. Don't confuse Shedeur Sanders with Lamar Jackson or Jaden Daniels. Yeah, he's got some mobility. They all do when they're 20 years old. But Shedeur Sanders is not your big dual threat type guy. He is a pocket passer type guy. And sometimes he looks fantastic. Other times he holds the ball way too long. And there's the whole Sanders family clan thing. So the real question is there another Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield type story out there? Is there a guy out there who may be available off someone's NFL roster who could blossom in the right system? Remember Baker Mayfield, it was the number one pick overall. He had 2 decent seasons, just decent seasons with the Browns, and 2 bad seasons with the Browns. Then he goes to Carolina, and he's a dog. He has to get cut. Then he goes and plays that game for the Rams and has a great game on Monday Night Football, but then does nothing else for the Rams. They don't hang on to him. And he ends up with the Bucks. Has a tremendous season last year. Has another tremendous season this year. Got a big contract. Sam Darnold was the number 2 pick in the same draft. And he was just an absolute bust and bounced around. So is there another dude like that out there anywhere? Because if you told me that there's another guy that I could get that's like a Sam Darnold or a Baker Mayfield, maybe I'm looking at that as opposed to looking at these quarterbacks that are in this draft, at least until you get to the second round or later picks. I think somebody out of this draft is gonna do well, but I don't know if it's Kyle McCord. I don't know if Drew Aller's going to go back in the draft. Right now he says he's going back to Penn State, but that's still up in the air. I don't know if it's one of the other guys that'll be available in the second or third round. I don't know Jalen Milroe. Now, Jalen Milroe is a legit dual threat guy. Or maybe he's not. Maybe he's a one-threat guy. He's just a running threat and not much of a passing threat. But Milroe is an enigma in this draft. Jackson Dart. Is Jackson Dart going to go later in the first round and end up being the best quarterback coming out of this draft? The mindset is that you have to take Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders somewhere in the top 5. Okay. All right. A crapshoot there. All right, back at Mission Control. Playing the platters that matter and the stacks of wax and answering the phones and keeping us on the air. It's the one and the only Jumpin' Joe Hunk.
Hello, I'm looking for some horsemen.
I've got plenty. How many you need?
4.
4 horsemen. Can't hardly understand what you're saying, but...
Sorry, I got a little bit of a list.
If I saw myself in clothes like those, I'd have to kick my own ass.
Tom, can you get me off the hook? For old time's sake.
Who in the blue hell are you?
I'm the producer of this show. If I didn't step up, you're nowhere. I put this thing together out of spit and polish.
What is your name? Detective. It doesn't matter what your name is.
And this is important because once you get that third one, they hit that level 10, get that heroic ability.
Satisfaction is guaranteed. So passionate.
Jordan!
So long, Nashville, Tennessee. You can't have what's left of me.
Oh, that could be Mike Keith's theme right there. So long, Nashville, Tennessee.
Look, man, I just started feeling okay about it. How about we just not talk about it?
Joe, you see here, one of the nice things they do at Corliss is they put the picture of me up from when I was younger. That's at me right there behind me. This handsome guy right here, there, this one, not this other guy over here, not this one over here, this guy over here. Yeah, there you go. See, that's the picture of me from when I was a young man. There with the debonair, the mustache.
Nice stash.
Yeah, the little stash there. And I used to have blue eyes, and then they went hazelish, back in the day. So, yeah.
I can see the resemblance, yep.
So you're saddened by the leaving of Mike Keith. He becomes the voice of the Vols. You are a Vols fan, along with being an Auburn fan and, everybody else that you're a fan of.
Yeah, but I've
you
spent a lot of time with that man over the last 4 years.
Wonderful guy.
And especially even this football season.
Yeah.
And going up there, I mean, again, it was 3 days ago. He and I are sitting and just talking inside the Titans radio booth right before they go on air for the pregame. And so, yeah, no, it is. My wife and I are texting back and forth, and I'm like, look, I know it's like he's alive. I know he's alive. I know he's going to be in Tennessee. I know he's going to be with the Vols. I know that I'm going to be able to text him and get him on the show. I know all of that, but it's like a death in the family. It really is. Yes, it is.
It's a celebration of him getting a job that is a job. Listen, Mike Keith this is his last gig, probably.
Well, no, it
I
is
bet
because
Mike Keith he'll be the voice of the Vols for the rest of his life. You get in one of those SEC jobs, you stay for 30 years.
Well, no, and look, this is where he started. He was with the Vols before he was the voice of the Titans. He learned from John Ward. Like, I get it. Like, every bit of it is amazing for him. And I think you and I both on the air says that this job search should start and end with Mike Keith. Like, that was it. But there was also a period of me going, okay, there's no way he's going to do both. It's going to be a single thing. And then I was still kind of holding out hope because as I was seeing the announcements, I kept seeing he is now the voice of the Vols. It wasn't he is leaving the Tennessee Titans to be the voice of the Vols. But then the Titans retweeted what he posted, and then it just said, thanks for everything, a true legend. And I went, yep, that's the goodbye.
Well, are you sure? Are we sure?
The way that tweet is worded, it sounds like it is a thanks for everything. We know the reason why you're going, and we understand, and we support it.
All right.
That's the way it sounds.
I mean, there are guys that do both. I mean, for years, Gene Deckerhoff did both the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Florida State Seminoles. And I'm pretty sure he's still doing that. I might be wrong. I might have made that up. But, there are guys that do both. So what I wonder is if Mike is going to end up doing if he's just going to be the voice of the Vols, and what does that entail, by the way? Do we know if he's doing radio,
football,
basketball,
yes,
and football?
It's football and basketball. So basically,
but not baseball.
Yeah, everything that Bob Kessling is doing now, that is what Mike will be doing.
All right, so our boy Vince Ferrara will continue doing the baseball. And of course, baseball's national champions. So we have to assume that Mike's going to move, right? I mean, we have to assume that he's literally going to move to Knoxville then.
Well,
you would think that he's going to physically – well, it's not. Look, there are a lot of guys that do games that live in a city that's a couple of hours away from the place where they do the games, but because he can fly anywhere. But I would think that this is a you're working for the University of Tennessee now. Boom, you're going there and doing that.
Well, I think that a lot of this is also going to be he's going to do for the Vols what he was doing with the Titans. And, it's going to be coaches shows. It's going to be everything. Like, that's the other part of this is he has shows with the Titans 3 out of the 7 days of a week. He has Monday night coaches show. He had Tuesday night Titans talk. He had obviously the games on Sundays. He was doing all these appearances and stuff for the Titans. You can't do all of those things and then also do all the stuff for the Vols that they're going to want you to do. So I don't know how many shows the Vols are going to want to do over the period of a week, but he's going to want to do it because that's who he is, and that's
it'll be interesting to see if he's an employee of the university or not, because which would involve other things, getting involved in sponsorships and stuff like that. Eli Gold for all those years with Alabama. Eli Gold was a piece worker. Eli Gold got paid by the game. It's like you and I going out and doing a game for $300. Yeah. You know what I mean? Eli Gold was paid by the game. He was making $1,800 a game, something like that, to do the Crimson Tide games. Now, he had the opportunity to do all the other stuff, but he'd get something for the show. It was basically a fee per game. He wasn't a quote-unquote employee, of the where he was making, $80,000 or $100,000 or whatever to work for the university, and you do all the games. He got paid on a per game basis. That's why when everybody flipped out one time when he went during a bye week, he went and did a Tennessee-Georgia game for another network and for a national network, and everybody went nuts. They're like, how the heck can you do a Tennessee game when you're the you're the voice of the Crimson Tide and everything else? And he was like, he came on my show. It was such a controversy. This was several years ago. And he said, Tom, you got to understand. He goes, I get paid per game. You make more working for that radio station in Huntsville than I make being the voice of the Crimson Tide. I just getting paid per game for 12 games. And then I get paid per show for 12 coaches shows.
It's contracted labor. I mean, that's I mean, he wasn't getting like a W-2 from Alabama or whatever.
No, he was getting a 1099 from Alabama, but basically for doing the game. So, so that's some. Now, in other cases, you got guys that are employees of the university, but they do a lot of other stuff for the university. So it'll be interesting to see if Mike Keith, who was an employee of the Titans, to see whether or not he is now going to be an employee of the University of Tennessee. And then we'll see where the Titans go. Look, to me, the first guy I call is Joe Fisher. Now, I know Joe Fisher had that issue, and he had to leave Vanderbilt, and he had the issue with the alcohol dependency and so on. I get that. It was very public. But he's not the first broadcaster to have an issue with alcohol dependency. He has done a wonderful job licking that. He's been doing a lot of other stuff since then. He's back in the broadcast business. And to me, Joe Fisher, I think Joe Fisher's outstanding. He's one of my favorite play-by-play guys. Highly, highly underrated play-by-play guy when he was doing Vandy. And, but it'll be interesting to see where they go.
Yeah, that's going to be the other part, because that means they don't have anybody in-house. There's not anybody that – I mean, there's a couple people that one or two on Titans radio that I know that do play-by-play for high school stuff. But it is, I don't know if they would want to consider something like that with somebody that's already on it. But the thing is also is that with Titans Radio, that is a very close-knit group of people.
Yeah.
And they seriously, like, I was sitting here thinking about it today. Those 5 or 6 guys that work on there between Coach Mack and Rhett Bryan and everybody behind studio, they've been together for decades. And so now they're basically bringing in a new friend, a new partner, a new colleague, all of that at the same time, because they are literally always together everywhere.
Does Hutton still do anything with the network?
No, he does. He's not.
Done?
No. The moment that Hutton stopped, it was Lucas Panzica that took over for Hutton, and Amy Wells was the one that went down on the field. She was doing that, and then whenever she got pregnant and she had to kind of step away because she wasn't going to be able to travel, Ramon Foster hopped in and started doing stuff, and he's remained the sideline person for a period of time.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. By the way, did you see Ron Slade doing the game last night?
I did. I actually texted him this morning because he was doing the game, and I texted him. I was like, "Hey, man, my daughter fell asleep last night listening to Uncle Slay, because that's what the kids call him, is Uncle Slay." And I texted him this morning. He was about to hop on his flight to head to Charlotte, and he was like, "Yep." And I was like, "He's like, I've been meaning to talk to you." So
he's pretty funny. He gets a little urban every once in a while. You got to pull him back. You know what I mean?
He does, and he does, and I make fun of him.
Start getting a little bit urban, and they're like, okay, all right, pull it back a little bit.
Yeah, because that's the thing though that they also love about him is because he's a natural entertainer. He was that way when he played, but he's just naturally that charismatic that they kind of let it go because that's who Ron Slay is. Like, he's a lot more, you could see more of his personality of who he is as a person on the play-by-play and as the color guy than what you kind of see on the weekends on the SEC network. And he's able to have a lot more fun doing the color stuff than what he does on the network when he's just an analyst.
Yeah. All right, let's get a break in here. When we come back, speaking of Auburn, let's get things started with Auburn and Justin Ferguson from the Auburn Observer. He's coming up next. It's the Thom Abraham Show live from Corralejo's Mexican Grill. Back with more right after this.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable, professional in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
Orthopedics. You're thinking bones, muscles, and joints, right? Well, what else comes to mind? Maybe your spine, therapy, or an arm cast? What about sports medicine? What do you think about when you hear that? Are you thinking about the largest orthopedic group in the state, caring for the most student athletes in North Alabama? Or about the fact that they are teamed up with the state's largest hospital-based sports medicine program to provide care to more schools in North Alabama than any other group? If you are, you have TOC Sports and Huntsville Hospital Sports Center on the brain. If you're not, you should, because Huntsville Hospital Sports Center and TOC Sports have partnered for more than 2 decades to establish a state-of-the-art team of certified athletic trainers and orthopedic specialists who successfully continue to meet and exceed the sports medicine needs of schools, athletes, coaches, and parents in our community. Committing to kids, committing to community, committing to care. That's Huntsville Hospital Sports Center and TOC Sports.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Is your concrete sinking? Whether it's your driveway, sidewalk, or patio, those uneven surfaces are not just ugly, they're dangerous. That's where AFS comes in, a groundworks company. They use state-of-the-art concrete lifting solutions to prevent tripping hazards, and they're the best at what they do. Schedule your free inspection at afsrepair.com/row. And while you're there, check out my latest dirty job. It's a good one.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for details.
And welcome back, Thom Abraham Show, live on location at Corralejo's. Come on out and say hello. It is a Beat the Big Dog Thursday. We will have one of those coming up a little bit later on in the show. Your chance to win $50 of gift certificates to Corralejo's plus 4 tickets to an upcoming Huntsville Havoc game. This segment of the show is brought to you by the fine service department, the award-winning service department at Woody Anderson Ford. They're there for your routine checkups. They're also there not just for Fords, for other brands as well. And if you've got a bigger problem, they will take care of that as well because they got expert service technicians who can quickly diagnose it. They use state-of-the-art tools to get the problem resolved. Services include things like preventative maintenance on belts and hoses and fluids, plus some more bigger stuff like air conditioner work, brake work, tranny repair even. They got a beautiful body shop down there as well. Go to WoodyAndersonFord.com to make your appointment. That's WoodyAndersonFord.com. Don't forget, they do have that mobile service as well where they will come out to you. All right. Joining us now, a guy who does a tremendous job with the Auburn Observer. You can see it at auburnobserver.com. Everything that you want to know about football and basketball. Obviously, basketball on a high right now, but there's a lot of chatter about the football team in this offseason as we're just getting started on that. Justin Ferguson joins us, and he joins us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Ferg, welcome in. How are you?
No, I'm doing well, Tom. How are you?
I am fantastic, and boy, I tell you what, this basketball team right now, they're a win at South Carolina away. I think that game's at South Carolina, right? they're a win away from being a number one team in the country, coming off of that beatdown that Tennessee took. And, man, they look good. They just keep it rolling.
Yeah, they do. And even in a game against Texas on Tuesday night where, Texas came back and made it really interesting in the final minutes, I thought Auburn showed, just some kind of that championship DNA down the stretch. This team is hitting free throws at a really good rate in clutch situations, which is not always what it's been under Bruce Pearl. And just the balance. I mean, this offense goes into another building and scores 86 rather comfortably in this one. They've got the best offense in the country. They've got potentially one of the best offenses we've seen in college basketball statistically over the last 15, 20 years. And I think their defense at times is good enough to hang with anybody in the country. And I think you look, it's just their only loss this season has been at Duke, and Duke's probably the most talented team in the country. Duke's the only team in the country I think that is close to Auburn in terms of stuff like KenPom and analytics and stuff like that. So, it's a really, really good spot to be in. And if they take care of business on Saturday against South Carolina, you're right, they could be number one in the AP poll heading into what would be a massive week next week with a really good Mississippi State team coming to town next Tuesday.
Well, and there's a lot of parallels to what went on with Alabama as well in their non-conference schedule. At Auburn, I mean, they played Houston, they played Iowa State, they played North Carolina. You mentioned the loss to Duke. They played Purdue. I mean, they played a really difficult non-conference schedule, and it seems to be showing up now as they get started, with conference play and how important it is to play not only good non-conference games, but away from home as well, which is, some of the other teams out there, we didn't see that with, and they're struggling in their first trips away from home.
Yeah, absolutely. Auburn now has 7 quad one wins according to the NCAA's net tool, and to tell you how crazy that is, at one point Auburn's 7-1. One point last year they were 1-7 in quad one games. So this team, I think, has really stepped up. Bruce Pearl said, he kind of went all in with this team this year. He saw the experience. He saw what he had coming back. He saw what he added and said, you know what, let's schedule as tough as we can get here in this non-conference, and we'll be prepared because I think the SEC is going to be as good as it's ever been this season. And lo and behold, it turned out to be true. And Auburn passed with flying colors. They, like I said, 7 quad one wins. There's only a couple of teams in the country that have 5, only a few more that have 4. So, I mean, you're talking about the vast majority of college basketball. It doesn't even have half the top quality wins that Auburn has this season, and that's really just built a resume that's as good as you're going to find anywhere in college basketball right now. And like you said, it's setting themselves up well because they were able to go on the road and hold off Texas. They've been in some tough environments. They've played well, shot well away from home, which was something they didn't always do last season. If they can keep that up, they could come out with a championship and what is looking like it could be the toughest SEC schedule we've ever seen.
Yeah, and then there's Bruce Pearl, who became the all-time leader in wins for Auburn, and when Nick Saban went to Alabama, the thought process is that he's a short timer. He'll be gone in a very short period of time. Every time a job opens up, people start worrying about Nate Oates there. In a way, it's the same thing with Bruce Pearl. It felt like he was there to rehab his image, and that in 3 to 4 years he'd have been gone. Now that he's been there as long as he is, and he's the all-time winning coach there, it feels like this is his last gig, and he'll coach there until he decides he doesn't want to coach anymore.
No, it definitely feels like his last gig, and it was really interesting. Andy Burcham pointed out, the Auburn radio play-by-play man, pointed out to Bruce in Austin on Tuesday night when we were out there. He said, hey, you realize that when you took the job at Auburn, you said, I want to be the winningest coach here ever. And Bruce was like, I don't even remember saying that. But it was a way to show that he was in it for the long haul, and he had that kind of buy-in. The results finally came after a few years, and since then, I mean, he has gotten exactly what he wants at Auburn. He has gotten a program that can compete with the best of the best in the country. Auburn has made it clear that they want to keep him around as long as he wants to be around. And so he's got his staff's got a ton of continuity. The fan base loves him. He's producing players for the next level at a high rate. They're doing a really, really good job with it. And you're right. I mean, teams have come calling. I think about a couple of coaching cycles ago, before Louisville hired Kenny Payne. I mean, Louisville was knocking on Bruce Pearl's door, and really wanted to see if he'd go to one of the premier basketball programs in the country. He decided to stay and sign an extension at Auburn, and it's basically since then it's just kind of been like no matter what job comes open, it doesn't seem to be real serious with Bruce Pearl. And I think he is in it for the long haul at Auburn. He's going to go down as the best coach to ever coach here, and it is really remarkable how he built this program from one of the worst power conference teams in the country to right now one of the most consistently strong ones in the SEC.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. How are they going to honor the guy? I mean, at some point in time, what are they going to do? They name the arena after him? What is it going to be? Down the road, you wonder how they do that.
Yeah, I think naming the floor after him would be a good sign. We've seen that at other places. I think Coach K's got his name on the floor at Duke. Roy Williams has got his name on the floor at North Carolina. We've seen that in several other places. I think that's a good thing. I think of Nick Saban having his name on the field now at Bryant-Denny.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to go about it. Auburn's arena is named after two really big donors for it, and it'd be interesting to see if they had some sort of naming situation there. But yeah, I mean, I think I believe it was Jimmy Dykes the other day who said it. He's just like that. Bruce Pearl needs his name on the floor when it's all said and done at Auburn, and I 100% agree.
Yeah, I would think that would be true, and boy, it's going to be something. I mean, this SEC, it's just absolutely crazy. And when you look at what Florida did to Tennessee, I mean, it's stunning in and of itself. It'll be interesting to see how high Florida goes in the next poll. But man, a certain amount of cannibalization going on. Certainly, once this SEC season gets fully underway, but it still feels like this league is just absolutely. I mean, there's no question it's the top league in the country. But man, it's going to be very interesting to see how it all shakes out after you get halfway through the season.
No, 100%. And I think that the teams that are going to stand the test of time, I think, in this league are going to be the ones that can go on the road and beat quality teams, and that's going to be the separator. And, Tennessee fell short of its first challenge in that. But, look, I've covered several games in Gainesville in the past. That place is a nightmare if you don't hit shots early. If you get if Florida gets out on you, it feels like the whole world's caving in on you. So I could kind of see how that happened to Tennessee, and they're going to have plenty of opportunities. But I look, Auburn beating Texas on the road, that's a good step. Not an elite team, but a good step in that direction. I thought, looking elsewhere, Alabama's got a great opportunity on Saturday against Texas A&M. I think A&M's an awesome team. If Nate Oates and those guys can go down there and come out with a win, I think that is a huge message that you could send to the rest of the SEC. And so you're going to get these opportunities, and it's like by any means necessary in this conference, you got to walk out of there with a road win. It's big. We saw Ole Miss win last night on the road, which I thought was key. And then, speaking of that Texas A&M team, they didn't have Wade Taylor, and they still came back and beat Oklahoma on the road. So, it's showing, I think, early on who's going to be able to separate themselves in this really tough league are going to be the ones that, can hold serve at home, but more importantly, go pick up a few really nice road wins. And several teams have that opportunity right away.
Justin Ferguson with us here from the Auburn Observer. Shifting gears to football, of course, in the offseason. Joe's favorite college football coach is Hugh Freeze. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, he would just as soon have Hugh Freeze. Yeah, if it was up to Joe Hunk, Hugh Freeze would coach both Auburn and Tennessee, both of his favorite teams, at the same time.
Still
I think
lie.
I think that's what he would want. But man, a really, really solid offseason in terms of the transfer portal. They've done a lot of damage. And then here comes On3 with their way too early preseason for this upcoming season. And they got Auburn in the top 10. I mean, you look at other preseason ones, and Bleacher Report doesn't have Auburn in the top 25. On3 has them in the top 10. I mean, man, this is going to be a very interesting offseason in terms of the expectations.
Yeah, I think, we talked about this in our podcast and went up today. I think Auburn's going to be a trendy, dark horse pick in terms of, most improved teams in college football. Because basically what people are going to look like is this. All right, Auburn lost a handful of close games last season. They lost a handful of close games 2 seasons ago. So it's not like they were going out there and just getting the doors blown off of them routinely. So, maybe get a little bit better close game luck, have some breaks go your way, play better in those tight situations, you can see how Auburn could be, 2, 3, 4 wins better next season or even more. So between that and the fact that they have recruited as well as they've had and worked the transfer portal as well as they've had, it's, that if you want to hit a prediction that, other people aren't going to see coming, I could see how On 3 would do something like that. Or other people kind of look at Auburn and say, you know what, I think they're going to be a lot better than they were last year because I think they've got a lot of pieces in place. I think the big thing, though, is it's putting pressure on Hugh Freeze, and I think he has shown and his staff has shown here this offseason with the way they've worked the portal, with the way they've gone out and recruited, they know that there's pressure to win. Like, this is 4 straight losing seasons at Auburn. That hasn't happened in 70 years. So what you've got to go do is go out there and get it done on the field. You have your resources. You have your, most of this roster, almost all of this roster is going to be his guys. You're going to have another year to get in. He's stuck with his coaches. He's, reconfigured some things on his defensive staff this week and brought in some guys that are familiar with Auburn or promoted some guys, from his staff. That's the thing is, like, he's doing it his way. His way's got to turn into some results, and the pressure's going to be on in 2025 right away because, we can talk about a rebuild and all that, and there's still some of that sense, but, there's a lot going in the right direction for Auburn that they just got to have show up on Saturdays.
Yeah, absolutely. And you wonder what the number is. I mean, that'll be the chatter when we get to the summer is that, what will be the number that allows Hugh Freeze to continue this thing going. I don't know that, improving to 6-6 or even 7-5 will do it. I think it has to be 8-4, and going forward from there. I think then people would buy into, what it is that he's building. The terrible thing is the 7-5 deal. Even though that would be an improvement of a couple of games, it just it puts you in that mindset as like, wow, just good enough to keep the gig, but maybe not good enough to make you feel like it's going to the next level. Maybe even 8-4 feels that way a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Auburn's schedule this next season, and they're not going to get time to kind of figure some stuff out. This past year we talked about how there was this kind of runway for them to get rolling, and obviously it backfired on them, and they never got out of first or second gear really all season long. That's not going to be the case this upcoming season. When you look at the schedule, Baylor's a good team. You got to go out there on the road and play them in week 1. Got a couple non-con games at home, and then bang, A&M, Georgia, Oklahoma. That first half of the season is going to be pretty gnarly for Auburn with the road tests that they have early, and then of course playing Georgia at home. And then if you survive that first half, the second half sets up pretty well. But you can't be going into that second half of the season scuffling because that's going to be a whole lot of issues there for. So there's going to be pressure for Freeze to get this right away and string together some wins early in the schedule and hit that second half of the season and give people something to believe in.
It's all about the quarterback, right? When you look at the transfer portal, I mean, there's a lot of interesting pickups there, a lot of solid pickups there. But in the end, this is really going to be about Jackson Arnold, don't you think?
Yeah, 100%. Especially with Ashton Daniels not being going to be around in spring ball, and Deuce Knight being a freshman. I think you look for Auburn and say, all right, Jackson Arnold, you're betting on upside, you're betting on potential, you're betting on, hey, this kid was one of the most talented players in the country coming out of high school. Let's give him a reset after everything went wrong for him at Oklahoma and see if it works out. So on paper that makes a ton of sense. You got to go out there and do it, and I think for Auburn, it is a gamble, it is a risk, but there were really no sure things at quarterback in this transfer portal cycle. Maybe John Mateer, and he was always going to go to Oklahoma when they hired his offensive coordinator from Wazoo. So I think that's a thing where you look at what Auburn is like. You can see where it could work. Obviously, Arnold's a dual threat. He's got real talent. He made some big plays. Even after he got benched last season, he's just got to get consistent. And so Hugh Freeze, Ken Austin, the offensive staff at Auburn, there's going to be pressure on them to get it done because their offense has underachieved the first 2 seasons. He's got a new quarterback in place. Was it a talent thing? Was it a thing, with Peyton Thorne where, he just wasn't good enough for what Auburn wanted to do? If that's the case, a guy like Jackson Arnold could come in and be that difference maker. But if not, there's going to be a lot of questions pointed to Freeze because of his offensive background, because of the way he wants to run things. He's got to get it done with this guy for sure.
It is interesting the number of wide receivers that they pulled into, from the transfer portal, because they had that great wide receiver room from last year's freshman class was so outstanding. But some of the guys they brought in, it's kind of a different body type too, because it seemed like everybody that came in last year as a freshman, as a high school recruit, was 6'2", 6'3", 205, 210, all big guys. And it seems like this, in this transfer portal, they picked up a couple of guys that are more in that, the quick twitch type guys, 5'11", 175-pound type guys that could be very explosive.
Yeah, absolutely. And they got one, Malcolm Simmons last season really broke out in that. And to get another guy who's got that kind of explosive, do-it-all potential, can move around, a guy like Eric Singleton, he was great these last couple seasons at Georgia Tech, one of the bigger pickups of this portal. So I think he's a great fit when you look at, hey, we've got Cam Coleman back. We're going to try to get Perry Thompson more involved this year and move some guys around and get those guys. So, yeah, they went out and wide receivers. He's got some experience because it's a very young room still. A lot of their older reserves who didn't play much last season left for more playing time. So they felt like they needed to kind of reset and reload. And that's the thing where you look at with Auburn is like last year they hit a home run in the portal with Keandre Lambert-Smith at wide receiver, and they still had a losing record. So you definitely want to have that kind of difference maker, and maybe Singleton or Horatio Fields from Wake Forest could end up being big difference makers like that. That's going to be the thing is, like, it is something that, like, for Auburn, I look at the wide receivers and I say, hey, there's talent there, there's upside. If you can reload with what you lost in Keandre Lambert-Smith, you could be in a really good spot. For me, it's that quarterback play, it's that offensive line play. It's going to be those other, it's going to be the coaching, it's going to be the play calling and all that. That's what's really going to take Auburn, I think, to the next level on offense. But if they can do what they did in the portal last season and in recruiting last season, this season with those same type of guys at wide receiver, they could be set up to really take a jump.
Justin Ferguson has been our guest. Check him out, the Auburn Observer. Everything that you want to know is right there at the Auburn Observer. All right, Ferg, we appreciate you, man. Have a great week. We'll chat again.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tom.
All right, thank you. All right, when we come back, we'll get the phone lines opened up. If you want to jump in, you can do it, 256-5764-97.7. It's the Tom Abraham Show live at Corralejos.
You're listening to the Tom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, G-Bank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a G-Bank Visa signature card. Apply today at vsin.com/GBank.
College football playoff semifinal tonight, Orange Bowl, Hard Rock Stadium. Notre Dame a 1.5 favorite over Penn State, 44.5 the total. 70% of the money bet on Notre Dame to cover the 1.5 spread. Coming up tomorrow, the Cotton Bowl Classic, Ohio State 6-point favorites over Texas, 53.5 the total. 82% of the bets accounting for 79% of the money coming in on the Buckeyes to win that game and cover the spread. Betting splits available at vsin.com, betting splits. Last night, Alabama as 11-point road favorites beat South Carolina by 20, 88-68. For more, go to vsin.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Tom Luginbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, "If you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself."
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
It's laundry season at Owen Home Appliance Center. Tired of that washer walking out the door and having to dry a load 2 or 3 times? It's time for a new washer and dryer. Pick from brands like Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, Electrolux, and of course, Speed Queen. Try the new 2-in-1 GE Profile that washes and dries a load all in one machine. Visit the interactive location in Lacey Springs where you can try the washers and dryers before you buy them. Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day, Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
A winter storm warning will go into effect at midnight ahead of Friday's winter weather potential. We're forecast to see snow, freezing rain, and possibly sleet, transitioning to a very cold rain in the afternoon. High temperatures are expected to warm into the upper 30s, but heading into Friday night, things are expected to refreeze, making for a treacherous travel on the roadways. Expect a mostly cloudy sky, low temperatures falling into the lower 30s. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's perfect.
And welcome back to Thom Abraham Show, live at Coralejos, where Wolverine Dan and Wolverine Ginger have slipped by and are eating. This is, I think he agrees with me, it's the finest Mexican restaurant on the planet, or at least in the valley, if not on the planet. I'm going with on the planet. Until I go to another one that I like better than this one, I'm going to say on the planet. Joe, do you like Mexican food? Are you a Mexican food guy at all?
I love Mexican food, and I'm also a shrimp quesadilla guy like Moulton, so I will devour a shrimp quesadilla.
Well, if I was, unless that order was for you, I don't know if that order was for you, because I think Moulton walked out of here with a shrimp quesadilla.
No, that's for him. Yeah, that's for him.
That was for him? See, if hey, look who's here. The lovely Junkyard Babe just walked in the door, along with the lovely Kelly just walked in the door as well. So they just showed up out here. I'm just saying I would have sent you a shrimp quesadilla. If I knew that you were a shrimp quesadilla guy, I could have sent you one with Moulton.
That's Tom. That's kind of like whenever you win the lottery and you say, "Man, if I would have known that you wanted to be in the pool with us, I would have added you." But I'm sorry, we just won $5 million. But I mean, I'm sorry I didn't ask you for the pool after we just won. But no, I appreciate it. Though,
I didn't know that you were a shrimp quesadilla guy. Now, is that your go-to when you go to a Mexican restaurant, or a burrito guy, or what is it?
Normally it's shrimp and rice with like the cheese dip and stuff on top of it, the queso on top.
Yeah,
I'll do that, and if I don't do that, I'll do a shrimp quesadilla because I love shrimp. I love seafood.
Yeah, I'm not a real big. I mean, the shrimp to me that's bait. I'm not a real I'm not a real seafood eater guy, although I will eat a good fish fry. I like a good white fish, fish fry type of thing. I like the shredded chicken with the cheesy chicken, with the rice, over the rice and things like that. And I am a refried bean guy. I don't know about you, but a good refried bean with the chips, I can do that.
Oh, now I will destroy that. I mean, that's what I get with my quesadilla. So I get the shrimp quesadilla. I'll get me some rice on the side of that, and I'll also get the beans on that at the exact same time. Yeah. So, by the way, just letting you know, just a few seconds ago, I just got a text message from the Huntsville Havoc.
Yeah.
They had moved the Friday game to Sunday. They have now postponed both.
What do you mean both?
As in the Saturday and Sunday game, because they were leaving the Saturday game at Saturday. Game.
So now they've postponed the whole weekend?
Yeah, they just announced
What, is there too much sunshine into people's face? Where's this thing? I don't...
Yep, it says, they just said, our weekend series against Peoria has been postponed due to an abundance of caution to address travel concerns caused by the impending weather. Stay updated. We'll keep you on there. So, yes,
maybe for getting them in here. Maybe that's part of the issue for getting them in here. I'm looking at I'm looking at my weather app right now. It doesn't start snowing until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and it's a 40% chance. And then tomorrow during the day, it looks like it's going to snow. I don't know. I better put salt down at the Big Dog Production Studios, huh? That's 10 steps. That's 10 steps. Treacherous steps. I'm going to have to salt. I may have to get a crew. I may have to get a crew out there to do that.
You got enough family members.
All right, when we return, Thom Luginbill. He's next on the Tom Abraham Show.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The college football playoff semifinals begin tonight with Penn State and Notre Dame facing off in the Capital One Orange Bowl. Nittany Lions anticipate All-American defensive end Abdul Carter, dealing with a left arm injury, will play. Fighting Irish leading rusher Jeremiah Love on track to play despite a knee issue. 7 Eastern, ESPN Radio and ESPN. In a statement released today, the family of former Tennessee Titans star tight end Frank Wycheck confirmed that he suffered from CTE, the degenerative brain disease linked to repeated blows to the head, at the time of his death 13 months ago from an apparent fall in his home. A Boston University medical study of his brain concluded he had CTE stage 3. Stage 4 is the most severe diagnosis. NBA Magic star forward Paolo Banchero listed as questionable tonight versus the Timberwolves. He's been out since October 30th with a torn oblique.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Hi, folks. Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, inviting you to come test drive any one of our over 100 F-150s. From rock-solid, dependable work trucks to our state-of-the-art Platinum Series, we've got an F-150 for you. Test drive one today, and you'll understand why the F-150 is the best-selling truck in America, going on 48 years in a row. Just as successful offenses and defenses are built on teamwork, Woody Anderson Ford is powered by our people. Our sales and service teams are well-trained to save you time and money. And because we want your business again and again, no one will work harder to earn it. Our mobile service teams come to your home or business for oil changes, brake work, tire rotations, and more. And the great thing is you don't pay extra for it. We come to you with mobile service at no extra charge. Proud to be local, family-owned, and at your service for over 62 years. Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore.
And now, a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Time now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
But that trick never worked.
You need to be more like a dog.
Like what you guys are doing. You've got your fingertip on the pulse of your listeners. You guys know what they're talking about.
Be a dog.
God bless the show. You are the Messiah.
We need more dogs.
This is the best show on radio.
The Big Dog, Thom Abraham, is here with you.
Hey, I see you. Hey, I see you, dog.
So settle in and get your bark on.
That's my dog.
Now live. Here he is, the Big Dog.
Let's go, baby!
Thom Abraham.
How you doing? 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 How you doing?
Look, I don't speak Spanish.
I don't know how to say this, so I'm going to choose my words very carefully. I think you're a psycho.
Do you know who I am?
I mean, that guy sounds like El McPherson farting into Miles Davis' trumpet.
I guess I'm on here. Am I on? Can somebody respond? Get off my lawn.
I have to drag my Yankee ass out of here.
And welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Thom Abraham Show. Corjalejos Mexican Grill is where we are at. You need to do the same thing. Come on down, check this joint out. And remember that right now you can get $50 worth of Corjalejos for just $25 at Big Zone Deals. But you better jump on that because these things sell out quickly. I can guarantee you that. All right, joining us to kick off hour number 2 is our good friend Tom Luginbill, brought to us by Woody Anderson Ford, as Lugs has been for a while, and it's good to get him today, of course, because tonight the college football playoff resumes, and Lugs joins us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Lugs, welcome in. How are you?
Good, man. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I am fantastic. Looking forward to tonight's game. I feel like this thing, playoff-wise, it feels like it's dragging out a little bit. It feels like there's a little too many days maybe in between games. I'm not sure. And then it'll be, another 8 or 9 days before we get a national championship game. But I tell you what, it's certainly heating up, and the TV numbers have been very, very good.
Well, yeah, everybody wants more football. I don't know how you can alter this and change this in any other way because it's not basketball. It's not a sport where you can play a game that is as violent and collision-based as this game is and then turn around and play 3 days later. That's not feasible.
Yeah, but maybe week to week. You know what I mean? They can't play this weekend. I think they're avoiding, obviously, I think the obvious thing is they're avoiding the NFL playoffs because, it would be nice to be playing this weekend and then next weekend. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And so I think that's part of it, is that to stay away from, you own tonight and you own tomorrow night, and then you give up the weekend for the NFL.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. But if we decided to expand to 12, there were going to be consequences to that. There were going to be scheduling conflicts. There was going to be marketing and revenue and all of these different things that were going to come into play to make all of this work. And when you hear somebody say, okay, well, should we expand? Should we go further? Well, like, how are you going to fit it in? Like, where are you going to put it? And, to me, I think the way this thing is unfolded, we've got 4 teams. We've got 3 of them that I think are playing really, really good football. With Texas, I'm a little concerned about them with how up and down and inconsistent that they've been. But I think we got 4 good football teams here to vie for an opportunity to play for a national championship.
We talk about Texas being inconsistent, but Ohio State, I'm still not ready to commit fully. As great as Ohio State has done, in the playoffs, in the two games that they've played against Tennessee and Oregon, two tough teams, and they've been so dominant. It was just a week before that, or 10 days, or 2 weeks, or however long it was before that, where they were looking melancholy against Michigan, and Michigan was completely squeezing the life out of Ohio State. So I don't, could Ohio State play like that, in Dallas?
Well, if they do, he ain't beating them. I mean, I think that's kind of what we've seen each of the last 2 weeks. And let's not forget, you go back to last offseason, Tom, and, this was a very public, push your chips to the center of the table. We are going to go out and we are going to spend and we are going to buy ourselves a national championship roster. And now all of a sudden that roster is playing like one. And the team is playing one. I think that losing to Michigan was the best thing that ever happened to them. Because what we've seen in the first round and the quarterfinal, we have not seen on back-to-back weeks for the entirety of the season from Ohio State, which may be why you just mentioned that you're a little nervous, because you're like, okay, well, we haven't seen this consistently. Well, we've now seen it for 2 weeks. Are we going to see it for a third week versus a team in Texas that tries to find ways to make games close, tries to find ways to get in their own way? And I think that's where Ohio State and Notre Dame right now have some distinct advantages. They don't beat themselves. It's hard enough to beat somebody else when you go out and you have self-inflicted wounds and you're turning the ball over and you're heavily penalized or pre-snap penalties. Like, they don't do that. And at this time of year, where we're at right now in this tournament, that's winning football.
Do we trust Penn State? I mean, in as much as that they've played SMU and Boise State, and everyone wants to say that, finally, James Franklin has gotten the monkey off his back and they're winning big games. Okay, I want to say that. I believe in them as well. Actually, I think they have an excellent chance against Notre Dame to win that football game. But on the other hand, have we seen enough to say that, they're all that in a bag of chips when they've played SMU and Boise State?
Well, they clearly got the draw of the draw of all draws when it came to seeding. And so now we're going to find out when talent gets equalized, because they went into the SMU game and the Boise State game, both of which I was on the sideline for, and it was just bigger, faster, stronger. They had athletic and depth advantages that those teams don't have. Well, now you're going to take on a team that does have that and can match up and doesn't beat themselves and can run the football, can stop the run, doesn't give up explosive plays, really good in the kicking game. Like, I think this is going to be a real test for Penn State. And as you referenced with James Franklin, it's no different than the conversation we were having prior to the pandemic about Jim Harbaugh, and that is winning games, highly anticipated games, versus top 10 opponents or top 5 opponents. Well, they beat a top 5 team in Utah when they won the Rose Bowl in 2022. They're 3-17 against top 10 opponents. But of those 10 of the 17 losses are Ohio State. Another 3 of them are Michigan. So it's not as if they haven't been successful. It's been kind of a 2-team issue, and they haven't been able to get over that. And so now another opportunity for, James Franklin to prove his worth.
Yeah, Thom Luginbill with us here, where we talk about tweaking when things, because, again, you kind of have to let this play out a little bit, and I think it's good that it'll play out this way for 2 years to see what it feels like and what it looks like. I don't think they'll mess with even the seeding issue next year as well.
Well, they should.
They should, and they could. I mean, there's really no reason not to just say, okay, this will get you in. You get your automatic qualifier, but we're going to seed 1, 2, 3, 4 as in the 1, 2, 3, 4 from the rankings. They could do that. Could they, though? The conference championship games were, December 6th. Do we really have to wait to the 20th to start this thing? Because you had that, and then you had the teams that had the byes. They waited almost a month to play, and none of them played well. Do we have to wait 2 weeks after the conference championship game to start the playoff? What's your thought on that?
I don't think you have to. I think one thing that you could potentially do is move week 0 to the third weekend weekend in August
Yeah.
and bump everything up and then buy yourself some time at the end. Because remember, you still have National Signing Day. You still have the transfer portal opening. Coaches are not fired up about all of those things combining with preparing to play a game. But I do think that you could add a week and start right after the championship game, which would really buy you some time because it's a long season, man. I mean, we're looking at still being, over 2 weeks out from actually playing for a championship.
Yeah.
And that's a long, long time. And let's not forget at the FCS level, and people say, well, the FCS is doing it. Yeah, but they play their first round on Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
And
but then they play week after week after week. They play one, just like the NFL. They play a game every week, whereas we started with 2-week break, and then we did another 2-week break, and then now we're going to have an 8-day, 9-day break, and then we're going to have another 9 or 10-day break before the national championship game. Yeah. So it's and it's
tough because you sit there and you look at it and you're like, well, the FCS has it figured out, and then what they do at the end, which I think is smart, they give the two teams that ran through that gauntlet some extra time to be at their best before they play.
Yeah.
So they didn't play till this last Monday night, which was I think that's a smart move.
I have sang this tune. Thom Luginbill with us here from ESPN and ABC and the ACC Network. I've sang this tune for a number of years as we were talking about expanding the playoffs and what access does. You mentioned the FCS level. Once again, there's North Dakota State winning another national championship. That's 10 in 14 years. 10 in 14 years because they keep, because of the system allows access to the playoff. We get to 14 teams or even 16 teams. Can you see that scenario long after my air career is over in 10 years from now? Could you see a scenario where whoever it is, whether it's Ohio State or Georgia or Michigan or Alabama or whoever, where some team can win, 7, 8 national championships over 10 years because they keep letting them in the tournament?
It's a really good question. I still believe at my core, despite the thinning out of the herd of personnel, the transfer portal, the transient nature of the sport, the wealthiest teams in terms of resources, the wealthiest teams in terms of perception are always going to have advantages. And it may not always be the 4 teams that are the same every year. Like this year we got Penn State. They haven't been there before, okay. Texas repeats from a year ago. You've got Ohio State back into this thing. Notre Dame has been absent for several years. Maybe next year, 3 of the 4 teams that get to the semifinals are different than the ones that were there this year, but they're all in that same realm, meaning that their resources exceed that of their peers. So we can add another 4 teams and go to 16. We can add another 6 teams and go to 18. Well, let's not forget, all we saw in the first round was blowouts. And if you go back to the 4-team playoff, 20 of the 30 semifinal games were blowouts. And that was supposed to be with the top 4 best teams.
Yeah.
So now you start adding in all of these other teams. Well, who's really actually good enough to win a national championship? Look at the FCS playoff right now. Each and every year, it's some form of Montana State, South Dakota State, and North Dakota State. Because they have more. So you can let all the other teams in that you want. They ain't beating those teams.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. Can that happen on the FBS level? Could that same thing happen where you're going to get – because eventually, so this year we've got, 2 Big Ten teams, an SEC team, and an independent that feels like a Big Ten team, even though they play a partial ACC schedule. It happens again next year, 2 Big Ten teams, 2 SEC teams. If we don't get an ACC team or a Big 12 team, this is just going to continue to beholden, the Tony Petitti and Greg Sankey to say, you know what, we're different. And especially if they're able to convince whoever that they need to get guaranteed 4 spots or whatever, which is going to lead to even more chances, to get all SEC and Big Ten teams in the Final Four. Yeah, at what point in time do they say, we're just going to expand a little bit more, and we're just going to do our own thing?
Well, I mean, you can do that, but I think you're going to still have the same result. And let's not forget that I think the step that you take before what you just referenced is to eliminate the automatic conference championship bid and just seed who you think the best teams are, 1 through 12, whoever that is. And essentially treat the regular season like the regular season. If you win your conference championship, great. It guarantees you nothing. If you
it guarantees
are
you
the
nothing,
loser,
did you say? It guarantees you nothing.
Yeah, it guarantees you nothing. It doesn't guarantee you a bye.
No, but
If
do it guarantee you a spot at the table? Do you get in the tournament? Can you get in the tournament? Because we got to make it mean something. Yeah, we got to make it mean something. You know, even the
but
smaller
now it comes down to seeding, Tom. Now it comes down to seeding.
Yeah, the seeding.
And so you sit there and you say, okay, well, so let me ask you this. Does Boise State and Arizona State, should they have gotten a bye?
No.
No.
Yeah.
They have no business getting a bye. So who cares whether you – if you want to win your conference championship, great. I'm all for that. I'm all for that as a goal. I think it's great. You hang the banner in the gym. That's good. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that the committee necessarily thinks you're a top 5 team or a top 7 team. That has to be earned through seeding and a ranking on who they think are the best teams. Because what we cannot have in all of this is we can't have an Oregon go undefeated, win the conference championship, and have to play Ohio State in the first round.
Right. And then, by the way,
Texas
Texas
was supposed to be done.
And Texas in the second round if they had won that game as well. But they do. We would agree that they do deserve an opportunity. We are okay with an automatic qualifier into the tournament. It's just being because there's got to be that carrot at the end. Even though I don't think
no question.
Yeah, I don't think those teams would ever do anything, but you're still going to let them in. Which leads me to the Pac-12. You had a lot of ties to the Pac-12 back in the day. I think your dad coached for years at San Diego State, was it? And so
Arizona
now,
State, yep.
Yeah, so now, San Diego State, Utah State, Fresno State, Colorado State, Boise State, all these state schools, they jump into the new Pac-12 beginning in 2026 when that, when the playoff changes again. How are we does the Pac-12 think that they're just going to get some sort of Power 5 status, whatever that means anymore? How is that kind of a Pac-12, which is loaded up with a bunch of Mountain West schools and Washington State and Oregon State, how is that any different than any of the other Group of 5 conferences? Do they become a Group of 6 conference at that point in time?
I do not see how you can treat them as a Power 4 conference. You can add as many teams as you want, but if you keep adding Group of 5 teams, and by the way, the Mountain West was as bad as it's been in years this year. And that's not taking anything away from Boise State and their performance and what they accomplished. But I'm sorry, and I'm standing there on the sideline of the Fiesta Bowl, that team you're playing in navy and white, that's not Wyoming and San Jose State.
Yeah.
Right? That's not Colorado State and New Mexico. And until we start to acknowledge that that's 2 different levels right now, particularly when the conference strength isn't good. See, it's different with SMU. That was a team that won the American, which was a pretty strong conference, and then made the jump. The Mountain West is not a strong conference, right? And Boise has yet to make the jump to see what would happen, but their jump or anybody else's jump isn't going to be against Power 4 opponents each and every week the way SMU's play. SMU had to play 9 straight games, including TCU and BYU at the Power 4 level. 9 straight.
Yeah. Yeah, I would almost, this is crazy radical maybe, but I would almost accept the scenario because I'm still going with ACC as long as there's a Florida State and a Clemson and a Miami and then an MSMU. Yeah, those are real programs. So they just happen to be down in it. But the ACC and even the Big 12, even though Big 12 has absorbed a lot of the American, I'm not going to quibble over that. They're the Power 4, but I would take those other 6 and I would call the Pac-12 part of the Group of 6. I could almost see a scenario where those guys would go in, those 6, the 6 champions from those 6 teams, and that they would play each other until it got down to 1 that came in with the others, that maybe got into if it was a bigger playoff, as opposed to having, these games that would be first round blowouts, where the Power 4 plus 2, the losers of the Big Ten and the SEC championship game are in the top, 6, whatever it is, and then they're playing these 6 teams from a Group of 6 conferences, and they're just first round blowouts. I'd almost have those guys have their own tournament. First 2 rounds they play themselves to enter into like a play-in, like they do in the NCAAs, like a play-in tournament to play into the final 6 or the final 4, something along those lines.
I have no issue. I got no issue
cool
with that at all. Yeah, it would be cool.
That'd be good. Thom Luginbill with us here. Now, Thom also worked for the Dallas Cowboys in the scouting department. He has scouted all of these kids that are coming out of college now and into the NFL draft and so on. Ever since they were high school players, he's been watching these guys for a long, long time. So I felt it would be important or apropos to ask him this question. There is so much conversation now going. The first 3 teams in the NFL draft are all quarterback-needy type teams. And there's Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, or Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. And it just does not feel like either of these are any kind of a sure thing in any way, shape, or form. On Cam Ward, Mario Cristobal just will not come out and say, look, the kid wanted to play in the second half and we wouldn't let him. Or it was established from the beginning that he wasn't going to play in the second. He's doing nothing to help that kid out for anybody to think anything other than the fact that he bailed on his own at halftime on his team. Should that impact?
Read between the lines.
Well, there you go. So if you're the NFL and you know how those guys think, do you have to factor that in? I mean, does that go to character? Does that go to anything that where you say, geez, man, something's not right with that? Is that a red flag?
I would put it into the equation, not saying it would be a determining factor, but there will be many teams that won't. And where Cam Ward has an advantage is it's a bad quarterback class.
Yeah.
And listen, there are NFL franchises out there, and I'm talking more than one, that don't even have a second-round grade on Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
And Cam Ward's the only guy that they look at that could be a franchise player, and up until that moment, he had done all the right things.
Yeah.
But the look of that was so bad because 2 hours later is the Colorado-BYU game.
Right.
Where Colorado's getting pummeled, and Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders are playing. And the optics of that, I thought, were really, really bad. But to sit there and listen, I've known Mario Cristobal for a long time. He played for my dad in NFL Europe in 1995. He was starting right tackle at Amsterdam. He's one of the most competitive people I've ever met in my entire life. And I'm sitting there. I'm in Arizona getting ready for the Fiesta Bowl. And me and my dad are watching it on TV. And we're watching Mario Cristobal on the sideline. And you are never going to convince me that that whole entire scenario went against every fiber of his being.
Unless it was his call. Yeah, unless it was his call at the beginning that he said, look, we're gonna start you. I mean, he'd have been better off just sitting out. I mean, it didn't kill.
Absolutely, he would have been better off sitting. What he did was worse.
Yeah.
But if you go back and you look at the comments and the quotes from Mario Cristobal leading up to this, it sounds way more like he got blindsided because all he was talking about is competing and finishing. And Cam Ward's done all of these things, and he cares about his team and the whole 9 yards. Then you find yourself in the second half up by 10, and your quarterback's sitting on the sideline, and the game is slipping away. So all of a sudden winning 11 games doesn't matter. Winning the bowl game doesn't matter. 84 other players aren't as important as one, and competing and finishing wasn't really real. That's exactly what the second half said.
Yeah. And like I said, if he were down with the whole thing, he would say something like, look, I had to take kid's helmet away from him. I told him, I said, look, you can play the first half. You could play the first half, but I'm not running you out there in the second half. All right, son. So we had to drag him off the field. He wanted to go back in, and we took his helmet and told him he couldn't go back in. And thank you for your service and appreciate you. The 16 of 19 in the first half was wonderful, but we don't want to take any more chances with it. He didn't say any of those things. He didn't say any of those things. That's between coach and player. So if you take those two guys, I mean, is Will Campbell, the offensive tackle from LSU, because you got the Tennessee Titans up the road here. They got the number 1 overall pick. Browns second, Giants third. Is Will Campbell a plug-and-play left tackle for 10 years? I mean, is that like a much more sure thing than any of these quarterbacks?
Oh, I think Travis Hunter, Will Campbell, Abdul Carter. I think there are guys that are much more surefire guys. Than a lot of the quarterbacks in this. And listen, we'll find out how far up Jackson Dart rises. We'll find out how far up, Curtis Rourke rises, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward. Just the reality is it's not a franchise-level draft. So what NFL teams are going to start doing is starting to look at the best available player. And that's just the reality of the situation.
Well, you remember when the Detroit Lions got ripped for drafting Jahmyr Gibbs because they're like, they just had brought in the Montgomery kid from Chicago Bears, and they were like, what the heck are they doing? It's like there's no – and their theory was we're just going to take all the best players that we can find, and then we'll figure out how to play with them. And now 2 years – everybody was giving them Fs, after the draft 2 years ago. And now everybody's saying – damn, they're like, did you really need a tight end? Did you really need Jahmyr Gibbs? Well, damn, look at them with 15 wins. So maybe piling up good players. And then somebody's going to reach for Jalen Milroe. Somebody is going to end up reaching for Jalen Milroe. I have seen CBS has him. Well, CBS has him going with the 6th pick in the first round to the Raiders. Man, is it going to be a reach? Now, finally, Mel Kiper moved him down
Tom Brady is going to allow that to happen?
No, and now finally Mel Kiper moved him down one spot though only. He put Jackson Dart. He flipped Jackson Dart in front of him and moved Milroe down to his number 4 quarterback in this draft, which is an indictment of what this draft looks like more than anything. I still think some kid that's taken in the 3rd round, some Kyle McCord or Drew Aller if he decides to go into this draft, or some dude like that is going to Curtis Rourke or some other guy is going to end up going in and doing some damage, and I'd hate to be sitting right at the top of this, right at the top of this draft this year. Man, that's crazy. All right, Thom Luginbill has been our guest. Lugs, we appreciate you so much, man. Great stuff as always.
All right, man. Enjoy the game tonight.
All right, thank you. You too. All right, speaking of the game tonight, we've got that game, tomorrow night's game, and 4 playoff games in Beat the Big Dog, and it's time to play Beat the Big Dog. So if you want to do it, you got a chance to win $50 at Corralejos and 4 tickets, exclusive tickets, hard-to-get tickets to a Huntsville Havoc game where they've sold out every game for a calendar year now, and it won't be for the games this weekend because those games have been postponed. So if you want to jump on board and do it, you can jump on board and do it now. Be caller number 5. All right, Wolverine Dan says caller number 5. So caller number 5, 256-576-4977, plays Beat the Big Dog next on the Thom Abraham Show.
Thom Luginbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold-certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
If hunting and outdoor recreation are your passions, it all starts with the right property. That's where I come in. I am Bo Butler with Southland Realty and Auction, a hunting and recreational land specialist and a Jackson County native who sees land through a hunter's eyes. Just as you trust your guide on a big game hunt, you can trust me to find the perfect property for you. Thinking of selling? Let me help you make your land attract buyers. Remember, Bo knows land. Call me at 256-609-0512.
Have you discovered Good Company Cafe? The place for breakfast, brunch, lunch, and so much more. Enjoy brunch all day and pair with one of our many seasonal refreshing drinks, including alcoholic and non-alcoholic options. Choose inside or outside on our gorgeous, spacious, dog-friendly patio. And have some fun with friends playing yard games in the courtyard. See catering, to-go options, and lots more at goodcompany-cafe.com. Good Company Cafe, 7500 South Memorial Parkway.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat, and that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
Our customers trust us not only to find the right hardware,
but to advise them on the technology that makes them more efficient.
My Next Level team researches and discovers real solutions. Check-in software, HR, digital signature, and workflow software. It saves you money immediately. We hold your hand and stay with you through the transition.
We're taking our customers to the next level in business process automation.
You know, there are rules to success, my friend. Rule number one is know what you know what you don't know, and know that I gotta know everything you know as soon as you know it.
Oh, yeah, it's time for a little Beat the Big Dog, brought to you by the Orthopedic Center, where thousands of area residents have received world-class care from the Billies.
Rude, but you're a lemon.
Most trusted and experienced group of orthopedic surgeons and medical specialists. TOC serves the Huntsville, Havoc, Alabama A&M, and most of the high schools in the region. They have 13 locations throughout the Tennessee Valley. So if you have an orthopedic problem and are considering professional care, TOC is the only logical choice. Stay in the game with TOC. All right, the Porch Dog is going to give it a shot, and we have got 2 college games and 4 NFL games. Porch Dog, welcome in. How are you?
I'm fine and dandy, good as candy. How are you, Tom?
I am fantastic. Couldn't be any better. If I was, I'd be 2 of me right now. And it's good to get you in here and give this thing a go. All right, so you know how it works. You've played before. I've got 2 college games and 4 NFL games. Do you want to pick first on the first game or pick first on the second game?
I'll defer to you.
All right, so on this one, I'll pick first, then you hear Joe's opinion, and then you get in with your take on it. We're going to start, of course, with tonight. Penn State gets 1.5 against Notre Dame tonight. I don't think that Notre Dame is going to get the gifts that they had gotten from Georgia in this game against Penn State. Georgia just did not play well. Both these teams have played games now, so it's not like a team has been sitting around for a month waiting to play a game. I can't get it out of my head that Notre Dame threw for 90 yards and beat Georgia in that game. I don't think Penn State needs the 1.5. I'm taking Penn State to win this game outright, Joe.
I'm actually kind of with you on that. No, I think Penn State's gonna win this one, and I think that they have a much better defense. I think that they are going to be able to stop the run game of Notre Dame, and so I hand this one to Penn State.
All right, what do you think, Porch Dog? Penn State gets 1.5 against Notre Dame.
Well, I got them heads up with my guy, and but I'm going to take Notre Dame in this one.
All right, so you got Notre Dame, so we're on opposite sides of the porch on that one. All right, in the next one, you guys go first. Joe, the Texas Longhorns get 5.5 at the Cotton Bowl against Ohio State. What say ye?
I'm going to go with Ohio State. Texas, way that they were able to at least be able to survive against Arizona State, still has me a little bit iffy on them, but Ohio State right now is playing too good.
All right, what do you think, Porch Dog? Texas gets 5.5 against Ohio State.
Yeah, are they at Jerry's World?
Yep.
Well, I'm going with Texas.
Makes sense.
There is weather. It won't affect the game in terms of on the field, but it could affect the game in terms of, the storms that are coming in, the ice, everything else that's supposed to be coming in all throughout the region. Could affect the infrastructure, getting people in and out of there and so on. So there is that part of it. I am taking Texas here. Did you take Texas or Ohio State, Porch Dog?
I said Texas.
Yeah, I'm taking Texas too. The 5.5, I think this is going to be a tougher game. Ohio State, I don't think it's just going to roll in there and blow out a third straight team. That is really hard to do. I know Ohio State's playing great. Every fiber in my body says, look at Ohio State, the way they beat Tennessee and Oregon. But you know what? I don't think it happens again. I think Texas plays them tough. Ohio State may win this game by a field goal, but 5.5 is a lot of points there, and I would not be surprised at all if Texas carries the banner of the SEC right into the national championship game and wins this game outright. So I'm taking Texas there.
I agree completely.
Yeah. All right. On this one, I go first. We're going to do 4 of the 6 playoff games in the NFL, and the first one we're looking at is the Saturday night game on Prime, by the way, on Prime Video. There's a streaming-only game, which is kind of weird. But the Steelers get 9.5 at the Ravens, and look, Steelers aren't going to win this football game, I don't believe, but the Ravens are always disappointing under Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. I think the Ravens will figure out a way to win this game, but the Steelers and Ravens play slobber knockers, and you're telling me I get 9.5? I'll take the 9.5 points. Joe, what do you got?
No, I'm with you on that because people forget that the Steelers actually beat the Ravens earlier this year in Pittsburgh, and that was a lower scoring game. And I've got a few friends that are Steeler fans, so out of respect for them, I'm going to go with the Steelers on this.
All right, Porch Dog, what do you think? Steelers get 9.5 at the Ravens.
9.5 points. That's a ton of points in the pros, and I'm going with the points.
I mean, that's a line that you see in the middle of the season between two teams that are not, that are totally mismatched. Not a playoff game.
Something's up. I mean, that's a ton of points for a playoff game.
All right, this one has a lot of points in it too for a playoff game. Joe, the Broncos get 8.5 with Bo Nix at the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be cloudy and cold, but no snow in the forecast at this point.
What's funny is that these two teams just played each other in Buffalo like maybe 2 months ago, if that. It was week 10 when they played each other. Yeah. And so it's not like this is the first time that Denver is heading that way. But what did you say the line was in the number?
8.5.
8.5. Ugh. Give me Denver on this because people forget how good Denver's defense is. I still think Buffalo's winning, but give me Denver.
All right, what do you think, Porch Dog? Another big line. The Broncos get 8.5 at the Bills.
Yeah, and you get Bo Nix, who has 13 years college experience, and all those points. I'm gonna take the points.
Yeah, see, now I just made the case for big points in the playoffs. Doesn't make a lot of sense, except for this one, in my opinion. I think the Bills are going to beat the brakes off them. That place is going to be an absolute zoo. The Broncos, are a great story to make the playoffs, but now they're taking on a team that may be the best team in the AFC. I'm taking Josh Allen, and I'm taking the Bills here to get the victory and get it easy against them. If there's any game that's going to be a blowout, I think this is the one that could be a blowout. All right.
They're going to win, but they're going to win by 10.
All right. Well, if they win by 10, they cover the 8.5. The Bills. So.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. So, are you sure you want to stay with the Broncos plus 8.5?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there you go.
I didn't mean 10.
Yeah. There's math on the show. When we go against the spread, Porch Dog, there's math here.
I didn't do a lick of study in there.
Put the bottle down, all right, and just pay attention.
It's down. You know I don't drink.
I know you don't drink. All right. Next one is the 3:30 game on Sunday. The Packers get 4.5 at the Eagles. These two teams play, but I think you throw the game in. They played in São Paulo, Brazil, like 2 years ago. It was opening day of the season. I think you throw that away. I don't know how healthy Jalen Hurts is. Coming off of a concussion, on the one hand, he might be feeling really good after having 3 weeks to rest his body and everything, and he may be in great shape. I don't really like this pick. This is a really tough one to pick, but I'm going to take the Packers and the 4.5. I'm going to say the Eagles, if they win a game, they win a close game. But I'm going to take the Packers, who have been stumbling around the last month of the season. But I take the Packers here plus the 4.5. I can't get it out of my head how they played in the playoffs last year. So this is not too big a moment for Jordan Love. Remember, they went to Dallas and destroyed the Cowboys last year.
Yeah.
Joe, what do you think? The Packers get 4.5 at the Eagles.
Give me the Eagles. You still have Saquon Barkley. You still have A.J. Brown. And if Hurts can get the football out of his hands and gets to one of those two, they're going to be fine. Plus, they have one of the best defenses as well in the NFL, so I'll go ahead and go with the Eagles on this one.
All right, Porch Dog. Pack gets 4.5 at the Eagles.
Yeah, I remember what they did to the Cowboys. I'll never forget it. I never thought I'd say it, but fly, Eagles, fly.
All right, you're going to take the Eagles. That means they have to win by more than 4.5. I just wanted to let you know that, just in case you don't know how this whole ATS thing works. There's no spread thing, but I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. In this last one, you guys go first. Joe, the soon-to-be again Redskins get 2.5. That could happen, man. I mean, there's a lot of communication about that they're going back to Redskins and that they're going back to the logo and everything else. Bring it on. The soon-to-be Redskins potentially get 2.5 at the Bucs, Joe.
This one, give me the Bucks on it. I
don't feel convicted.
I don't feel convicted on it because Jaden Daniels and the way the offense runs when he is healthy is very well. I still not 100% on how healthy he is at the end of the season, whereas Baker Mayfield, on the other hand, and the way that offense has been able to run, I would go ahead and take Tampa on this. They may beat the Commanders out of them.
All right. What do you think, Porch Dog? Commanders get 2.5 at the Bucks.
I'm gonna go with the Bucks myself. I believe the Eagles are gonna win. I don't see two teams from the NFC East getting in there like that. And, wait till they get back to being the Redskins, then I might take them.
I'm with you. I'm taking the Bucks here. It's been, I think, 10 years since a rookie quarterback won a playoff game, and Jaden Daniels is not your typical rookie because he is an older player as well. He came into the NFL at 23 years old, something like that. He's been very, very good. Having said all of that, I think Baker and the gang get this one here. All I got to do is win by a field goal. 2.5 is not enough, so I'll take the Bucks, and I'll lay the 2.5. So in summation, I've got Penn State. You've got Notre Dame. Even though I will pull tonight, as I'm sitting in the new Big Dog Productions, sectional. I can't call it the Barca Lounger anymore. I don't have the Barca Lounger anymore. So as I'm sitting in the Hacienda sectional tonight, I am going to take. I've got Penn State. You've got Notre Dame. We both got Texas tomorrow night. We both got the Steelers on Sunday or on when is that one? That's Saturday night. I have got the Bills. You have got the Broncos. I got the Pack. You got the Eagles. We both got the Bucks. So we wish you the best of luck with this thing, man.
Well, same to you, and good talk to you.
All right, good talking to you. That's the Porch Dog getting in on that deal. All right, we're going to break in here. When we come back, phone lines go open. If you want to jump on board, you can do it now. 256-576-4977 gets you into the show. It's the Thom Abraham Show. Live on location, Corralejos Mexican Grill.
You're listening to the Thom Abraham Show with Joe Hunk on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. For a limited time, G-Bank is offering a $250 bonus when you open a G-Bank Visa signature card. Apply today at vsin.com/Gbank.
College football playoff semifinal tonight, Orange Bowl, Hard Rock Stadium. Notre Dame a 1.5 favorite over Penn State, 44.5 the total. 70% of the money bet on Notre Dame to cover the 1.5 spread. Coming up tomorrow, the Cotton Bowl Classic, Ohio State 6-point favorites over Texas, 53.5 the total. 82% of the bets, accounting for 79% of the money, coming in on the Buckeyes to win that game and cover the spread. Betting splits available at VSIN.com, betting splits. Last night, Alabama's 11-point road favorites beat South Carolina by 20, 88-68. For more, go to VSIN.com. Mike Sennett, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It's laundry season at Owen Home Appliance Center. Tired of that washer walking out the door and having to dry a load 2 or 3 times? It's time for a new washer and dryer. Pick from brands like Maytag, GE, Whirlpool, Electrolux, and of course, Speed Queen. Try the new 2-in-1 GE Profile that washes and dries a load all in one machine. Visit the interactive location in Lacey Springs where you can try the washers and dryers before you buy them. Owen Home Appliance Center. Quality products, quality pricing, quality service. It's in the name, Owen Home Appliance Center.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
The state's largest orthopedic group is growing to meet the needs of the patients in our community. The Orthopedic Center has long been the most trusted name in orthopedics in North Alabama. So as our area continues on the fast track, so does the need for premier orthopedic care anywhere and anytime you need it. TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Corralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day, Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at $5. Corralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
There's the phone and no one to answer.
256-576-4977.
And as a result, we got many, many phone calls and letters.
Give us a call on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline today. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And welcome back to Thom Abraham Show. Live on location. Corralejos Mexican Grill is where we are at. Phone lines are open for this final segment of the show. 256-576-4977. That'll get you in. Some of you guys have complained about on my show how there seems to be more breaks in my show, and we have shorter segments than the other shows on the air, and that is true. That has been true for a period of 3 or 4 months. And I've been in communications with our program director, Steve Moulton, and I realized I thought we all had gone to the same clock, and apparently not. And everybody else still has 3 segments with 3 breaks. So I'm like, screw it. If you guys are doing it, then I'm going to do it. The problem is I had all those live reads that I had to get in there, but that's all right. We can stick one at the beginning and one at the end of a segment. And but I did ask Steve about this, I don't know, a couple of days ago, and he refuses to answer me. And he's now in house. So what is the deal, Steve? Are you finally, can I get approval here from you? Are the program director?
Absolutely. I just told you I'm good with getting rid of the 30 break.
Was that what it was, the 30 break? I never took it at 30, so I didn't know.
No, you never did. Yeah.
All right. So Joe,
are we late for a break right now?
No, this is the final segment, believe it or not. So yeah, I'm on schedule for the I just started doing the 3 break thing for the hell of it.
Like 2 days ago, he tried.
I told Joe, I said, Joe, just build the brakes up and get everything in there. So we'll go to a 20, 45, 55
I think the better question should have been for Tom is for Steve to ask him what time does he think our breaks are. I just wanted to hear.
Oh, I know what time they're because I actually have a chart in front of me. I know that they're 15, 30, 45, and
I'll say
55.
26 and 51. 26 and 51.
Pulled that stump once or twice, but I try not to do that. That's a morning show thing. That's a talking ball.
51 if you're lucky. Maybe 53.
That's the old talking ball move. We need to get the 3 breaks in, though. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
So how you doing, my friend?
Good. The cool people here
behind
go
us.
with the shrimp quesadilla.
Look at how similar their shirts are. And you look at that. The shirts are identical in texture and color. They just one has got bare shoulders and the other one doesn't.
But she didn't go shrimp quesadilla.
I know she did not go to shrimp quesadilla this time.
Okay.
Yeah,
Shrimp quesadilla. Is
talking about the
fantastic.
Junkyard Babe, my wife and my third oldest daughter, Kelly, who is here. She's the one. What?
Joe, fast forward 20
Joe went to
years.
school with her.
Oh, really?
Joe and Kelly went to college together.
Yeah, we took classes together.
Yeah, they took some classes together.
Yeah, fast forward like 20, 25 years, and you'll be doing
Joe,
the same
she looks
stuff.
a lot younger than you, Joe. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no mohawk.
Yeah.
No, she
No
also she
mohawk.
also chose to leave the Abraham household, where I've chose to come into this.
Wow.
You keep returning.
Yeah.
This is like time straight
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. It's
You
the
keep
direct
bouncing back.
opposite. Yeah.
No, she left and stayed left when she left. You can catch her singing anywhere around town in the Tennessee Valley. She probably is out, 2 or 3 times a week now anyway, 4 times a week, too many times a week. But she is out there, so you can catch up with that. Steve Moulton, Steve, look what I just found on the interwebs. There's a new thing going on now. A men's cuddling group aims to redefine masculinity and heal trauma. Men get together and they cuddle together to get over their trauma. So what do you think? I mean, I could see you and Joe and Drew and Scott all kind of like
one big
spooning
group hug.
together in the studio a little bit.
You and
Just
Wes, right?
No,
And you and Wes.
No, me and Wes would be like ready to fight, But you 4 guys would be like spoonage.
Is that what you're?
I'm just glad this conversation's happening with Steve and not me. So y'all have at it.
I could see Baby Abe and Bailey maybe spooning together a little bit. These younger guys, you don't know. I mean, Joe, you don't want to join a men's cuddling group to redefine masculinity and heal trauma?
I mean, I've got enough cuddle buddies at the house. I'm
There
good.
you go.
Yeah, see, I'm good on the cuddling.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I don't like people enough to actually want to be around them if they don't have my last name.
This group is a 2-year-old group. It draws men from various backgrounds. This particular group has a 37-year-old Mormon who works as an airport gate agent, a 57-year-old married father of 3, a 62-year-old retiree, and a couple of younger guys in the group. So it looks kind of – I think you get arrested for this, can't you? I mean, it's kind of skeevy there. The other thing I saw on the interwebs, which was really confusing to me, Carson Beck has entered the transfer portal. I'm like, first of all, I thought Carson Beck was going into the NFL draft.
Yeah, I thought he announced that he was going to the NFL draft. Maybe he didn't like his grade. I don't know.
Transferring to the NFL? I mean, that's what I thought he was going to. Now, look, he didn't have the kind of year. Everybody thought. I thought at the beginning of the year, and many pundits thought that Carson Beck was going to be number 1 quarterback picked in this draft.
Well, we all heard back in Dallas, give me your list of top quarterbacks, and it always started with Carson Beck, and I was the first one to go, I don't know about that, but we'll see. Certainly didn't have a very consistent year at Georgia.
I thought the portal was closed. What happened?
The portal is closed if you've not graduated. If you've graduated, it is still
okay.
open.
So he would be a graduate transfer.
A grad transfer. Yeah.
He would be a grad transfer. So he has gone into the quarterback. Now, see, under Georgia draft declarations, Carson Beck.
Yeah,
it shows him listed there on Georgia Bulldog Sports Illustrated site.
He's playing both sides of the fence.
Well, you can, like Drew Aller said, he's going in the draft. He said he was coming back to Penn State. Drew Aller said that he was coming back next year to Penn State, but he can still declare for the draft, even though he said that. If he balls out and wins the national championship, he might want to exit stage left before he comes back again. But back into the transfer portal. Who is the quarterback, whether Beck's going to the NFL or whether he's going to transfer out of there, who is the quarterback next year for? It's not Rashada. He's gone.
Yeah, he's gone too. By the way, he was listed as the backup quarterback in the Notre Dame game. I think Gunnar Stockton has earned his stripes. And I think Gunnar Stockton is the quarterback moving forward for the University of Georgia, in my opinion.
All right, so Carson Beck apparently is in the transfer portal. It's going to be really interesting.
Maybe he'll end up at Auburn.
Or Notre Dame.
It seems
seems
like they
Notre
all
Dame
end up at Auburn.
Well,
right?
or Notre Dame keeps taking these transfer quarterbacks. These, they did it, a couple of years ago.
The yellow fella got a few more pennies out there.
They said that they're.
Can he pay himself to leave?
Although Notre Dame did say that they were not going into the transfer portal this go around. So that's, by the way, the dulcet tones of Steve Moulton. Do you have a show tonight? Steve's show.
1 hour. 1 hour
show.
leading into the CFP.
Steve's show is often very fractured because of all the sports that we have now.
And it's about to get even more.
Well, I'm a big fan for I wish
NCAA basketball.
Personally, I wish Stephen West would go to 4 to 6. I've said that for a million years, but
there's a guy that is.
There's one guy that's half of that show that doesn't
yeah.
want to do that, and then we think about we don't want to lose an hour of Feinbaum, so I get that because if we didn't hear Billy and Red Bay complaining about Kalen DeBoer. And
haven't heard Jim from Tuscaloosa in a while.
Yeah, I haven't heard those guys.
It has been a good day, hasn't it?
Yeah. Wait, there's time yet. You got 3 hours of that coming up here in just a few minutes here.
Paul told me I was going to fill in for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. When is that?
Well, I'm just telling you, during media days, during his contract negotiations, I gave him a bet that he would re-sign, and he said, I don't know, and then I gave him the bet, and he said, okay, you're on.
I think what he said was that you would fill in for him. The odds of you filling in for him would be better than the odds of him
You know what? I'll fill in for him if Mike Keith is the next voice of the Tennessee Vols.
Yeah, well, that certainly is going to happen. Hey, what did you think of my thought?
Dude, stop, okay? I'm already sad here. Can y'all stop?
I thought, but you're a bigger Vols fan than you are a Titans fan.
Dude, I work with the Titans.
Well, it's okay. I mean, now, he's going to be the voice of your beloved Vols.
I mean, it's not like he's dying, but it feels like a death. Y'all could just stop right now.
Not a death. You know who I would talk to? I wish we'd get a chance. Because I'm a big believer in second chances, and I love Joe Fisher. I think Joe Fisher's so smooth, man. When Joe Fisher was doing Vandy, I thought Joe Fisher was highly, highly underrated in the SEC. As far as other voices in the SEC, he was stuck with Vandy, so he didn't get those big games that everybody else get. But I always thought that Joe Fisher was outstanding.
I like Joe. I like Joe a lot.
I think he's doing Tennessee State or something right
Tennessee
now.
Tech.
He's at Middle Tennessee doing women's basketball.
Is he really?
Right, but he's doing Tennessee Tech football, and then he does Middle Tennessee women's basketball.
I believe that's right.
now as well. So I think that you're.
But you and I both know, as we are both aging, that they are going younger and younger and younger.
Well, Joe's
for these guys.
How old Joe is? Joe too old?
I'm 40. I'm 40.
No, he's right in the wheelhouse.
You're in the wheelhouse,
yeah.
Joe.
Yeah, you could go for the Titans job.
If you had the talent, Joe. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Maybe they would I have no idea where they'll go for that gig. Because it would seem to be they want somebody that has.
Mike Keith was a high school play-by-play. Well, I mean,
no,
that was what he did technically before the Titans job.
I just think that they're going to go. The Titans. I just see them sticking with somebody that has Middle Tennessee connections.
I do
you know what
so.
I mean? Because chops, for the region, and that's how kind of what it was with Keith and I don't know who. Now our friend Eli Gold's already put his name in the hopper, but Eli's like 69 now.
70? Yeah, I was gonna say 70.
Based on the way the Titans are going right now, though, they may just let Brinker do that too.
Wow.
Easy.
Wow.
What if Rand Carthen gets the gig? He's available.
He's free.
Amy loves him.
See what they want is they want a guy that can just work endless hours and is really good at scouting and that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's not Rand because that's not what he's done his entire life.
Maybe Amy will do it herself, I mean, I guess that's a possibility. George Plaster.
Oh.
George Plaster
First
doing
down
it.
and 10.
It'll be the middle of the second quarter. George will still be calling like the opening kickoff.
Going to set the formation.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Thank God for the music.
Yeah.
You didn't like my plasm?
No, because no, it's not that. The choices are getting worse and worse.
How about Joe Dubin? My boy Joe Dubin.
How about we use AI and get Vince Scully to come back, and we'll just get him to do it.
There you go.
I'm good with just keeping it with Coach Mack. Just tell Coach Mack to have at it and just have at it.
Yeah.
Coach Mack is awesome.
You'd have to have a serious filter there. Big time delay. You have to have a 30-second delay on Coach Mack. You're talking about a guy that can cuss up a storm.
Oh.
All right, that's going to do it for us here at Corralejos. I want to thank Jumbo Joe Hunk. He mixed the show. Steve, who helped us out here on location as well. Get in there to your big zone deals and take care of getting your Corralejos before they're all sold out. Paul is next. Have a great day, everybody.